If you have 1,000 items in your closet and you share 3 times per day, you're only sharing 3,000 times, 3,000 shares. So you have 6,000 more shares that you can do that you're not taking advantage of. That's a big missed opportunity, potentially big missed out sales. So if you're not sharing up to that maximum level, you're really leaving money on the table and potentially missing out on sales. Download your free reseller resource guide today. I constantly update and share with you discounts, favorites, tools, and resources to help you with your reselling business. After the video, click the link in the description and get your totally free guide today. Sorry to say, Poshmark friends, I have bad news for you. The bad news is that everything you know about sharing is all wrong. Everything you've read on blogs and Reddit and Poshmark Facebook groups and even prior YouTube videos for Poshmark sellers, it's all wrong. The landscape has changed over the last 7 years, and I'm going to share with you exactly what I do and the way I see the sharing formula going now so that you can get the most amount of sales from like the least possible work, because sharing is that low-hanging fruit that can easily be laid on your Poshmark closet to bring in more sales. I've seen people from coaching calls just based on doing some of these sharing formulas, they've doubled their sales from what they were because they were so low because they weren't sharing enough. So let's get into what this video has in store for you today. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the Poshmark sharing limits, how many times you can share your Poshmark closet and how to figure that out, the optimal share schedule for your Poshmark closet, my exact sharing formula, and then stay till the end for a bonus tip about how I'm actually doubling my ability to share my growing closet. So this video is packed with stuff for you, all actionable tips so that you can make more sales on Poshmark with this very easy way of just doing your sharing a little bit differently. Let's get into it. So let's start with the Poshmark sharing limits. Poshmark sharing limits, I've seen it at 9,000 shares per day. I've seen it at 10,000 shares per day. The reason why there's a limit is because you might end up in share jail, and nobody wants that. That's when you share, but it doesn't actually go through. It doesn't actually do anything, and that's called maybe shadow ban, temporary ban, Poshmark share jail. So you don't want to end up there. So we want to abide by what the rules are in certain situations. And so I operate off of 9,000 shares per day just to be on the safe side. So for me in my Poshmark closet, I'm not sharing any more than 9,000 times per day. So that's the limits. So then the next question is, how many times can you share your Poshmark closet? Or how many times should you be sharing your Poshmark closet so that you can get the maximum benefits of sharing and get more sales as a result? So it depends. It depends on how many items you have in your Poshmark closet. So for example, if you are trying to get to the goal of sharing 9,000 times per day and you have 1,000 items in your closet, you can share 9 times per day all of your items, the whole closet, 9 times. That's going to get you to that 9,000 limit. Now, if you have 500 active items in your Poshmark closet, then you can share double that. You can share 18 times per day, which is almost once per hour. If you have 250 items in your closet that are active, you can share double that, so 36 times per day, and so more than once per hour, and maybe in those peak times, once every half an hour perhaps, and we'll get into schedule in the next couple of tips. So that's kind of a general framework. So all you have to do is find out your active items, and I should have had this ready, but to find out your active items, go to your closet name on the bottom of the app in the bottom right-hand corner, click My Posh Stats, and it will tell you how many available listings. So I have right now 644, but spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you about something at the end that helps you. And in another one, I have 963. So stay tuned for that announcement and kind of how that affects everything. So you can share up to 9,000 times a day. So depending on how many items you have, you just divide that into 9,000. That will tell you exactly how many times you can share per day to reach your maximum. So if you have 1,000 items in your closet and you share 3 times per day, you're only sharing 3,000 times, 3,000 shares. So you have 6,000 more shares that you can do that you're not taking advantage of. That's a big missed opportunity, potentially big missed out sales. So if you're not sharing up to that maximum level, you're really leaving money on the table and potentially missing out on sales. So if you are sharing 5 times a day, even still, that's 5,000 shares. You're still missing out on 4,000 shares. So you see what I'm saying here? If you don't share up to that maximum number in times per day, it's wasted. It's wasted. And if you use an automation service, I use Poshmark VA. That's what I recommend. Poshmark VA is fantastic. And I do have a link down below so you can get your 20% discount. Poshmark VA, I think it's like $25 a month. And so if I'm paying $25 a month and I'm only using it to share 3,000 shares, or I'm only using it to share 5,000 shares, I'm actually wasting some of the money that I'm spending because I'm not getting the maximum amount that I could per day. So I think we've gotten to a point where many people have kind of caught on to automation and they recognize that they can't do it all themselves, but they're not fully utilizing the power of that automation by maxing it out. So I think if you are doing it yourself by hand, stop what you're doing, use my link down below, sign up for Poshmark VA immediately so that you can get the benefits of that automated sharing, because that's going to automatically increase the amount of shares. If you're already doing it, make sure you're maxing it out. So that takes care of 2 different kinds of people. If you're someone that's like me and you already are maxing it out, stay tuned because I have some more meat for you that's going to talk about sharing formulas, sharing times, things like that. But for the people that are doing it themselves or have the automation but aren't fully utilizing it, that's 2 critical missed opportunities right there. Poshmark VA is a tax-deductible business investment that pays for itself many times over each month. It increases Poshmark sales because it shares and sends offers more than I ever could manually. It handles all my shares, automatic offer to likers, bulk offers, and it can do price drops and relists. When my coaching clients add Poshmark VA, it makes more sales basically immediately. The best part is that you get your time back. More time with family, thrifting, whatever. Get 20% off with code Rebecca the Reseller and the link below. Okay, so now let's get into optimal schedule to share your closet. When's the best time to share your Poshmark closet? So for me, I am on East Coast time. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I operate off East Coast time. I don't know population-wise because it's populated on the West and it's populated on the East, which one has the bigger population. But I do find that because Eastern time is earlier, if you operate on East Coast time for your sharing schedule philosophy, then you will also capture most of the West Coast critical times as well, as long as you add to the end a little bit. So I'm going to explain the exact schedule that I do, but so I find that it's nice to operate off the East Coast time. I also think that you should space out your share times evenly throughout the day. So if you have 1,000 items and you share 9 times a day, you want to space those out every couple of hours. And then you also want to bulk up during the most peak times, which for me, I consider it usually a peak time in the morning, like around 7 a.m. Eastern, and then kind of lunchtime Eastern, and then evening time Eastern, like 7 to 11 p.m. Eastern. So those are the times that I consider to be critical peak times. And so I would ideally try to share more around those times. Then the rest of the day, I would space it out evenly so that you're not going more than 4 hours if you can without a share. I think going more than 4 hours without a share, unless it's over the middle of the night, is a little too much. And so then you get kind of pushed down in those search results. So for me, I think run on East Coast time, space it out evenly, and then hit the peak times more frequently, I should say. So now to decide how you're going to set up your schedule. And if you don't know, I'm going to do a separate video about Posture VA and how I set up all my settings. So just keep that in mind. That's coming. Make sure you subscribe for that. But you want to set up your schedule in Posture VA, and then literally you never really have to touch it again. So for me, I set up my schedule, I never touch it again, and it just does what I need it to do, which is wonderful. So it's a really good, like, kind of set it and forget it thing. So now how to decide how you want to set up your Posture VA, and then I'll tell you what I do. So if you have 500 items, share 18 times per day. So you're basically sharing every hour except for in the middle of the night. That's what I would do. If you have 250 items, you can share 36 times per day. So you should share every half hour except for in the middle of the night. And that's kind of like a general rule of thumb. Now, I don't have that little. I have like 1,000 items in my one Poshmark closet. Here we're getting to the announcement. And I have whatever I said before, 600 something in the other, which is actually soon about to grow. I'll explain all that shortly. So my exact sharing formula is based on 1,000 items. I can share 9 times per day. And I have my Posture VA set for 7 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and 11 p.m. So I hit it in the morning. I hit it in and around lunchtime. I hit it in the afternoon, maybe around car line, kids getting out of school, things like that. And then all through the evening for all sorts of things. And I find that on that East Coast time, it does hit some of those critical times, West Coast time. And so that's how I set up my specific Posture VA. Now, it is important that you share up to the limit to maximize your item's exposure. And there are mostly 2 things that affect your visibility on Poshmark. And I've talked about this before. Maybe I should have said this at the beginning. Don't forget to stop by the Rebecca the Reseller Academy, where you can find all of the products and all of the educational tools I have available for you, including all the free goodies. Here you can find coaching calls, Poshmark closet reviews, digital downloads, including my free reseller resource guide, as well as all of my courses and all of the bundles to save you lots of money. Hope you'll stop by soon at the Rebecca the Reseller Academy. Basically, sharing and keywords. Those are the 2 critical things that help your visibility, exposure, and your listings get potentially discovered by buyers. So you need keywords to get pulled into a search, right? So somebody needs to look for a red floral dress. You need to have those keywords in your listing so that you can get pulled into Sally's search for a red floral dress. But if you shared your red floral dress 6 hours ago, and I shared my red floral dress 30 minutes ago, my red floral dress listing is going to show up higher in Sally's search than yours is. And so that's why you need both of those 2 critical things, keywords and sharing, to give your listing the best possible chance that it's going to get pulled into a search and then seen at the top of a search by a buyer, because they're not going to just search through millions of listings to find yours that you shared 6 hours ago. So the bonus tip that I've kind of already spoiled is that some of the ways that you can get around this issue of, as your closet grows and you have more and more available active items, your ability to share them and put them out into the Poshmark world becomes less and less. So if you have 1,000 items, you can share half as much times as someone with 500 items. If you have 2,000 items, you can only share 4 or 5 times per day. Whereas if I have 1,000 items, I can share 9 times per day. So the frequency that you can share increases the duration of time that goes by that someone can't see your item in that search. And so I found as my closet grew, because I have boutique items, I have thrifted items, and I like to have a critical mass of about 1,000 items in my closet anyway. I feel like that's a good number. I started creeping up over that. I was at 1,500, 1,600 most recently, and I decided to split closets. And so I now have 2 Poshmark closets. I have approval for them. One is at On My Rack, and the other is at On My Rack 2. And so each of them now have, or they will have, about 1,000 items. One of them has about 900 right now. The other one has 600, but it's about to be 900. I ordered a new boutique set of items, and so that's coming soon. It's about to get bigger. So I now have technically 2,000 items, right? Across both closets, but both closets can be shared 9 times per day. If they were together in one closet, they'd only be able to be shared 4 or 5 times per day. And so to me, operating 2 closets, while it is a whole can of worms, and don't worry, I'm going to be making videos on all of it, how to do it, why to do it, if you should do it. But now that I have, and I'm announcing it, I can tell you that my items are being seen more. So it's still new. There's still a lot of things going on with it that I'll share more detail in another video to let you know, like the good, the bad, is it working, all of that kind of stuff. But for right now, the ability for both sets of items, thrifted and boutique, to be shared at the same amount, both at the max of 9 times per day, is great because I'm maximizing my Poshmark VA. I'm maximizing the ability for my items to be seen and pulled into searches. So I think that the bad news, as I started the beginning of the video, is that if you are sharing yourself, and therefore you can only share a few times per day, if that, because I know some people out there share once per day or not even every day, you can be making so many more sales just by increasing the number of shares. And I don't want you to do it yourself. Clicking those buttons is a giant waste of your time. There's many more reseller tasks that you can be doing that will help you make more money. I want you to have a fun life, be with your family, not chained to your phone all the time. And so utilize Poshmark VA. Again, my discount link is down in the description below. And so utilize these tools, utilize all of the tips that I gave here today to make your Poshmark work more for you at max capacity. These are very easy things to implement. I wish you all the best with your sales. Go ahead and watch the next video that comes up and check out down in the description below for that Poshmark VA link. See you next time. Bye.